Hi, welcome to Social Work 664, or Treating Trauma. My name is Anjana Deshpande, and I'm going to be your professor for this course. This is just an introductory video, so I wanted to introduce myself and this course to you, and we'll be working together for the next 7 weeks. To tell you a bit about myself, I'm a Widener alum, and I have taught this course a couple of times, both in person and online, and I really enjoy doing it. This is not my first career, though. My first career was in market research, where I conducted focus group discussions and tried to understand why the consumer made certain decisions, and I was interested in knowing how the consumer's brain worked. So I liked what I was doing. I just wanted a different place to apply it. And so I switched over to social work, where I now try to understand the client's brain and try to improve their quality of life. And it's been a very rewarding transition for me, and I really like what I'm doing. So at this point, I work full-time as the program coordinator of adult partial program, where I deal with acute mental illness and, of course, trauma on a very regular basis. And I also have a small private practice where I see clients, and I am a certified journal and poetry therapist, so I use a lot of therapeutic writing in my work with trauma. So that was about me, and now to tell you a little bit about the course and what the expectations are and where you can find things, etc. So I think it's a very relevant course in today's times, because no matter what area you choose to practice in, you are going to come face to face with some aspect of trauma. This is also a very exciting time to try and understand trauma because of the explosion in information about the brain. And primarily trauma was considered to be very feelings oriented. And when people heard the word PTSD, they almost thought, this is a death sentence in a way, because I'm stuck with this for life. I'm stuck with these symptoms for life. But now, knowing what we know about the brain, we can actually target the underlying reasons behind these symptoms and improve the quality of life of our clients. So I think it's really, we're at a very interesting phase in the treatment of trauma, where neuroscience has revolutionized how we see trauma and how we treat it. Okay? So our books for this course are in line with what I just said. One is The Boy Who Was Raised as a Dog. It's an excellent book by Dr. Bruce Perry, and we're going to be referring to his videos throughout this course. And it's also by Maya, and I can't pronounce the last name, Szalvis. Wonderful book, and it's a very humane look at trauma. So I think Dr. Perry almost is a social worker at heart and is looking at the person in environment. So when you read each case study, I think I mentally want you to just have a pie chart in your head with 4 quadrants: physical, emotional, psychological, social. These are the 4 areas that trauma impacts us on. And I want you to try and look at the case through all these angles. Okay. Also try and identify who's the client in this case. It may not always be the client who's identified, or there may be multiple clients. So this is really rich material for discussion and for learning about trauma. So excellent book. Second book is The Body Remembers by Babette Rothschild. And this really talks about the processes that happen in our body as a result of trauma. And I'm going to be talking more about that. And I'm personally fascinated by how much information can change your perception of treatment. And it's almost like when I talk to clients, they say it's like magic. I never made this connection, but now that I know, I can control my symptoms better. So this is a really great book. I still read it, I still refer to it, okay, as you can tell. And then we have The Body Keeps Score. Again, it's a very easy to read book full of anecdotes that demonstrate how a person can be impacted by trauma. And what I really liked about these books is they don't pathologize trauma, and they talk about it in a very humane, down-to-earth way. Okay, so one thing I do want to give you a heads up on as we go through these books and we read the case studies, some of you may be triggered, or some past memories may come up, or you may even begin to identify certain symptoms of trauma that you hadn't realized before. If that happens, please do contact me. I'm available on Engage. And it has happened before, and then the student and I kind of worked out a plan to assist the students. So you don't have to go through this alone. If something has come up for you and it's difficult for you to read this material, and you're having a response to this material that is overwhelming, just contact me. So having said that, I have certain expectations for the paper, and please, when you write the paper, use the APA style formatting. So there will be a title page, there will be a reference page, there will be in-text citations. Please, please, please be careful about grammar and spelling, because that's one of my pet peeves. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but when you write, it should just be clear. It should be, reflective of your thought process, and it should be well written. When you send your paper to me, just make sure that you save it with your name on it, because I receive a lot of papers, and then I don't know whose paper it is till I actually click it open. So if you could write your name on the saved file, that would be great. Also wanted to talk a bit about the syllabus. If you go on to the main page in Widener, which has all the courses and assignments and the syllabus per week, you will find little video links under each assignment, and if you click the link, I've given you an explanation of how the assignment is supposed to be done. So we have discussions which are ongoing, and then we have journals. We have 3 journals to be submitted throughout the course. We have lit review, and you will be asked to choose 2 papers for the lit review. One is identifying what kind of trauma you want to work with. So it could be combat, it could be, witnessing witnessing violence. It could be any trauma that you're interested in. And the second paper that you choose would be about the population that you want to work with. So if you have chosen combat as your trauma, you may choose to work with female veterans, okay? And so it's almost like a subcategory of the trauma. So the lit review is your understanding of these 2 articles, and I've explained it a little more in a little more detail in my video. The other example or assignment that you have is the triad or dyad presentation, in which you are going to build upon the lit review. But in the presentation, you're going to be talking about treatment modalities. So if you have identified combat trauma as your trauma, if you have identified female veterans as your population, then in the group presentation, you're going to identify how are you going to treat them. So you may choose CBT, narrative therapy, trauma-focused CBT. There's multiple options out there. Which one would you choose? And then your presentation is going to be on that. And the last one is trauma explanation, is how do you talk to a client who has no idea of the terms and certain words that we use as clinicians, because that's going to be the crux of your treatment. How are you going to convey all this information to the client in a way that they can understand and apply it to their lives? So that these are roughly the assignments that are there, and these are given, information about these are given in more detail when you visit the course page. And lastly, I want to talk about self-care. And the reason I want you to do it, and I will be bringing this up again and again, is that when someone walks into your office and says, I am tired and I have a full plate, I just don't have any time for myself, and you tell them, breathe or do something that's relaxing, or go for a walk, and at least my clients sometimes get angry and they say, I have no time to do that, or I'm so tense and I'm so keyed up that I can't do that. So unless you practice this, in your busy life with all the things that are going on with you, you cannot suggest this to your client. So for that reason, at least, try and practice the self-care. And I'll see you soon, and hope to connect with all of you through your introduction videos. Thank you.